You woke up this morning and probably took your medication with breakfast. The same pill you've been taking for years without a second thought. Maybe it's the one for your blood sugar, or the one for heartburn that your doctor prescribed when you couldn't stop that burning in your chest. But a cardiologist just revealed that those exact pills might be stealing something from your body that your heart and brain need to survive. For decades, we've been told that as long as we take our prescribed medications and eat a balanced diet, we're doing everything right for our health. Most people believe that if they eat eggs, fish, and dairy, they're getting all the vitamin B12 their body needs, especially after 60 years old. But what almost nobody knows is that two of the most commonly prescribed medications in the world can quietly block your body from absorbing this vitamin. And the worst part is that the symptoms of this deficiency look exactly like normal aging, so most people never connect the dots until real damage is done. Researchers from major medical institutions discovered something that surprised even experienced cardiologists working with older patients every single day. They found that millions of people over 60 are walking around with dangerously low B12 levels, not because they don't eat enough of the right foods. If you want to know exactly how to protect your heart and brain starting today, stay with me until the very end of this video, please. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing that people from so many different places are taking care of their health together. Think about the last time you felt a tingling in your hands or feet, or when you stood up and felt a little unsteady, like your balance wasn't quite right. Maybe you've noticed that remembering names has become harder, or that by the afternoon you feel a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't seem to fix anymore. Most people over 55 just accept these things as part of getting older, but doctors are now discovering these exact symptoms can be early warnings. Your body needs vitamin B12 for 3 critical jobs that become even more important as you age, and this is something science has proven beyond any doubt. First, B12 protects the coating around your nerves, like insulation around electrical wires, which is why deficiency causes tingling and numbness over time. Second, it helps your body produce healthy red blood cells that carry oxygen to every organ, which is why deficiency makes you feel exhausted and weak. And now, pay very close attention, because I'm about to reveal the 7 things every person over 60 must know about vitamin B12 and medications. 2 of these will be the exact medications that a cardiologist is warning you about, and understanding this could change everything for your health. Reason number 1. Why vitamin B12 matters specifically for your heart and brain after 60, and why cardiologists are now paying close attention to this. Inside your bloodstream right now, there's a substance called homocysteine, and when your B12 levels drop, this substance starts to rise steadily over time. High homocysteine acts like sandpaper on the inside of your blood vessels, damaging the smooth lining and creating places where plaque can build up easily. A study published by researchers at major heart institutions found that elevated homocysteine increases your risk of heart attack and stroke significantly over the years. But here's what makes this so important for people over 60. Your body uses B12 to break down homocysteine and keep it at safe levels naturally. When B12 runs low, homocysteine climbs higher and higher, and your cardiovascular system starts suffering damage you can't see or feel until something serious happens. At the same time, your brain depends on B12 to maintain the protective coating around nerve cells, which is why deficiency can cause memory problems and confusion. Many older adults diagnosed with early dementia or depression actually have a B12 deficiency that's been mistaken for something far more serious and permanent. The tragedy is that this type of cognitive decline can be reversed if caught early, but once nerve damage becomes severe, it may become permanent and irreversible. Cardiologists now understand that protecting B12 levels isn't just about preventing anemia, it's about protecting your heart, your brain, and your entire nervous system. This is why a simple vitamin that most people ignore has become a major focus in cardiovascular medicine, especially for patients taking certain long-term medications. If you're over 60 and taking daily medications, your doctor should be monitoring your B12 levels at least once a year, but most people have never had this test. The connection between B12, homocysteine, and heart health is so well established now that ignoring it is like ignoring your blood pressure or cholesterol numbers. And this brings us to the hidden problem that affects millions of older adults without them ever knowing it's happening inside their bodies right now. Understanding this connection is the first step to protecting yourself, and the next 6 points will show you exactly how to do that starting today. Reason number 2. The silent symptoms of B12 deficiency that are commonly mistaken for normal aging, and why this mistake can be so dangerous for you. One of the earliest signs is a tingling or numbness in your hands and feet, a sensation that feels like pins and needles, especially at night when you're resting. Many people dismiss this as poor circulation or arthritis, but it's actually your nerves crying out for B12, and the damage gets worse the longer it goes untreated. Another common symptom is balance problems and unsteadiness when walking, which doctors often attribute to inner ear issues or simply getting older and less coordinated. But studies have shown that B12 deficiency affects the nerves that control balance and coordination, making falls much more likely, which is extremely dangerous after 60. Memory fog and difficulty concentrating are also classic signs, and these symptoms are so similar to early Alzheimer's that many people are misdiagnosed and put on dementia medications. Persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest is another major warning sign, because without enough B12, your body can't make healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen. Some people also develop a sore, swollen tongue or mouth sores that don't heal easily, which is a specific sign doctors call glossitis directly linked to B12 deficiency. Depression, mood changes, and irritability can also appear, because B12 is essential for producing the brain chemicals that regulate mood and emotional balance naturally. The problem is that all of these symptoms develop slowly over months or even years, so you don't wake up one day feeling dramatically different from the day before. You just gradually accept feeling a little more tired, a little more forgetful, a little less steady on your feet, thinking it's just what happens when you get older. But research published by neurologists specializing in older adults shows that these symptoms can be reversed if B12 levels are restored before permanent nerve damage occurs. The key is recognizing these signs early and understanding that they're not inevitable. They're often a red flag that your body is running dangerously low on this critical vitamin. And if you're taking certain medications every day, your risk of developing these symptoms is much higher than you realize, which is exactly what we'll discuss in just a moment. Pay close attention to what your body is telling you, because these seemingly small symptoms are actually your nervous system asking for help before it's too late to fix. Reason number 3. Why aging itself reduces your body's ability to absorb vitamin B12, even if you're eating all the right foods every single day. When you eat foods that contain B12, like eggs, fish, or dairy, your stomach has to do a very specific job to release that vitamin from the food. Your stomach produces acid and a special protein called intrinsic factor, and together these two things pull B12 out of the food and prepare it for absorption later. But as you age, especially after 50 or 60, your stomach naturally produces less acid, a condition doctors call atrophic gastritis, which affects about 20 to 30% of older adults. Without enough stomach acid, the B12 stays locked inside the food, passes through your digestive system, and leaves your body without ever being absorbed into your bloodstream. At the same time, production of intrinsic factor also declines with age, and without this protein, even free B12 can't be absorbed properly in your small intestine. This is why eating more B12-rich foods often doesn't solve the problem after 60, because the issue isn't what you're eating, it's what your body can actually absorb. Research from gastroenterology departments at major universities confirms that B12 absorption drops significantly in older adults, even in those who eat a healthy, balanced diet every day. This natural decline in absorption is already a challenge, but when you add certain medications on top of it, the problem becomes much more severe and dangerous. Many older adults are unknowingly fighting a two-front battle. Their aging digestive system is already struggling to absorb B12, and their daily medications are making it even harder. This combination creates a perfect storm for deficiency, and it explains why B12 problems are so common in people over 60 who take long-term prescription medications. The good news is that once you understand how absorption works, you can choose forms of B12 that bypass these age-related obstacles and get the vitamin directly. But before we talk about solutions, you need to know exactly which medications are interfering with your B12 levels, because this knowledge could literally save your life. And that's exactly what we're going to reveal in the next few points, starting with one of the most widely prescribed drugs in the entire world for older adults. Reason number 4. The critical difference between cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin forms of B12, and why this matters when you're taking certain medications every day. When you buy a B12 supplement at the pharmacy, you'll usually see two types on the shelf: cyanocobalamin, which is the synthetic form, and methylcobalamin, the natural form. Cyanocobalamin is cheaper and more stable, but your body has to convert it into methylcobalamin before it can actually use it, which requires extra steps and energy. For most younger people with healthy digestion, this conversion happens easily, but for older adults, especially those with absorption problems, it can be much less efficient over time. Methylcobalamin is already in the active form your body needs, so it can be used immediately without any conversion, making it a better choice for people over 60. But here's the key point. If you're taking B12 in pill form that you swallow, it still has to go through your stomach and be absorbed in your intestine. And if your stomach acid is low, or if you're taking medications that block absorption, even high-dose pills might not raise your B12 levels the way you expect. This is why sublingual forms, which dissolve under your tongue and absorb directly into your bloodstream, can be much more effective for older adults with absorption issues. Sublingual B12 bypasses your stomach completely, so it doesn't matter if your stomach acid is low or if you're taking medications that interfere with digestion. It goes straight in. Injectable B12 is even more effective because it goes directly into your muscle and then into your bloodstream, completely avoiding the digestive system and all its potential problems. Studies published in nutritional medicine journals show that sublingual and injectable forms can raise B12 levels significantly faster than oral pills in older adults with malabsorption. If you're over 60 and taking medications that interfere with B12, choosing the right form of supplementation is just as important as taking the supplement itself. Your doctor can help you decide which form is best for your situation, especially if blood tests show that oral supplements aren't raising your levels as expected. Understanding these differences gives you real power to protect your health because you're no longer just guessing, you're making informed choices based on how your body actually works. Reason number 5, the foods that naturally support B12 status and why diet alone often isn't enough after 60, no matter how well you eat every day. The best natural sources of vitamin B12 are animal products, because plants don't make this vitamin at all, which is why vegetarians and vegans need to supplement. Eggs are an excellent source, especially the yolk, and they're easy to prepare in many different ways, from scrambled to hard-boiled, making them perfect for any meal. Fish like salmon, tuna, and sardines are rich in B12, and they also provide healthy omega-3 fats that protect your heart and brain as you age. Dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese contain good amounts of B12, and they're also rich in calcium and protein, which support bone health after 60. Fortified cereals and plant-based milks often have B12 added during manufacturing, which can be helpful for people who don't eat much meat or dairy for various reasons. Beef liver is one of the richest sources of B12 in nature, but many people don't enjoy the taste or texture, so it's not a practical option for everyone. The problem is that even if you eat these foods every single day, you're only getting the benefit if your body can actually absorb the B12 from them. Remember, absorption depends on stomach acid and intrinsic factor, and both of these decline naturally with age, especially after 60 or 65 years old. So you could be eating eggs for breakfast, salmon for lunch, and yogurt for a snack, and still develop a deficiency if your digestive system can't pull the vitamin out. This is why relying on diet alone is often not enough for older adults, especially those taking medications that further reduce absorption in the stomach and intestines. A study from nutrition researchers found that even older adults eating B12-rich diets several times a week can still have low blood levels if absorption is impaired. The solution isn't to stop eating these healthy foods. They're still important for overall nutrition, but you may need to add a supplement in a form your body can actually use. And if you're taking either of the 2 medications we're about to reveal, supplementation becomes even more critical, because diet alone simply won't be enough to keep you safe. Reason number 6, and this is the first medication. Metformin, the widely prescribed drug for type 2 diabetes, which interferes with B12 absorption in a way most patients never learn. Metformin is one of the most commonly prescribed medications in the world for people over 60, and it's highly effective at controlling blood sugar and preventing diabetes complications. But research published in diabetes journals over the past 2 decades has consistently shown that long-term metformin use can cause clinically significant B12 deficiency in many patients. Studies estimate that 10 to 30% of people taking metformin long-term will develop measurably low B12 levels, and the risk increases with higher doses and longer use. The problem is that most doctors don't routinely test B12 levels in their diabetic patients, so the deficiency develops silently over months and years without anyone noticing it. Symptoms like fatigue, numbness, and memory problems are often blamed on diabetes itself or just getting older, so the real cause is missed until the deficiency becomes severe. By the time symptoms are obvious enough to investigate, nerve damage may already be permanent, which is a tragedy, because this is completely preventable with simple monitoring. Cardiologists are especially concerned because diabetic patients already have higher cardiovascular risk, and adding elevated homocysteine from B12 deficiency makes that risk even worse. If you're taking metformin, you absolutely must ask your doctor to check your B12 levels at least once a year, and more often if you're on a high dose. The test is simple, inexpensive, and widely available, but it won't happen unless you ask for it, because it's not part of standard diabetes monitoring protocols in many clinics. If your levels are low, your doctor may recommend stopping metformin temporarily, but that's usually not necessary. Supplementation with the right form of B12 usually solves the problem completely. Many diabetes specialists now recommend that all patients on metformin take a daily B12 supplement as a preventive measure, even before deficiency develops, which makes perfect sense. The key is not to stop your diabetes medication out of fear. Metformin saves lives, but you need to protect yourself from its one major side effect with simple awareness. Reason number 7, and this is the second medication and the big reveal. Proton pump inhibitors, commonly called PPIs, which millions of older adults take daily for heartburn and reflux. PPIs include medications like omeprazole, pantoprazole, esomeprazole, and lansoprazole, and they're some of the most widely used drugs in the world for people over 60 years old. These medications work by dramatically reducing the amount of acid your stomach produces, which stops the burning sensation of reflux and protects your esophagus from damage. But here's the critical problem. Your stomach needs acid to release vitamin B12 from the food you eat, and PPIs shut down that acid production almost completely. When you take a PPI every day for months or years, your stomach becomes a low-acid environment, and B12 stays locked inside your food and never gets absorbed. Research published in major gastroenterology journals shows that long-term PPI use, especially for more than 2 years, significantly increases the risk of B12 deficiency in older adults. The longer you take PPIs and the higher the dose, the greater your risk, and many people over 60 have been on these medications for 5, 10, or even 15 years. Unlike metformin, which affects absorption in the intestine, PPIs affect the very first step of B12 processing, making it almost impossible for your body to extract the vitamin from food. This means that even if you eat B12-rich foods every single day, you're essentially wasting them, because your stomach can't do its job to prepare the vitamin for absorption. Many older adults taking PPIs develop symptoms like fatigue, tingling, balance problems, and memory fog. But these are blamed on age or other conditions, not the medication they take daily. Cardiologists warn that combining a PPI with metformin, which millions of diabetic patients do, creates a double block on B12 absorption, making deficiency almost inevitable over time. If you're taking a PPI, talk to your doctor about whether you still need it, because many people take these medications long after the original problem has healed and resolved. If you do need to stay on a PPI, you must supplement with B12 in a form that bypasses your stomach, like sublingual tablets or injections, not regular pills. And just like with metformin, you should have your B12 levels tested at least once a year, along with homocysteine and methylmalonic acid, to catch deficiency early before damage. But before you start taking B12 supplements, there's one critical mistake you need to avoid. And this mistake could turn your efforts into wasted time and money. Many people think they can just take a regular B12 pill at the same time as their PPI or metformin and everything will be fine, but that's not how it works. If you're taking a PPI, swallowing a B12 pill won't help much. Because your stomach still can't process it properly, you need sublingual or injectable forms instead. And never ever stop taking your prescribed medications without talking to your doctor first, because the risks of uncontrolled diabetes or untreated reflux are very serious. Here's a simple plan you can start today to protect yourself. First, call your doctor's office and ask for a B12 blood test, along with homocysteine if possible. If you're taking metformin or a PPI, this test should become part of your yearly routine, just like checking your cholesterol or blood pressure. It's that important now. If your test shows low or borderline B12 levels, talk to your doctor about switching to a sublingual form or getting B12 injections, which bypass all absorption problems. If you're on a PPI, ask your doctor if you still need it, because many people can stop or reduce the dose after a few months, which solves the problem naturally. Remember that person who took their medication this morning without knowing what it was quietly taking away. That was you before you watched this video, but not anymore. If this helped you, please like and share it with someone you love, and check out the 2 videos on the screen now to keep protecting your health with us.